Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to The Sims 4 and welcome back to a speed build. This one's kind of a little bit of an interesting one because it's not a house, it's not a room, it's not a community lot. It's technically going to be a residential rental, but like it also wouldn't work for 90% of your Sims. We're building a fairy community today because here's the thing about fairy Sims. They don't really need anything traditional like needs wise, and the needs that they do have that are more traditional can be completed with the fairy house object. Like they're sleeping, they're bathing, like their emotional needs, which is kind of all they really need, can all be taken care of in the fairy house with this object. They just get really tiny and they go inside and it's really, really cute. So really they don't need a house because they don't need a traditional bathroom, they don't need a traditional kitchen, they don't even really need a traditional bed. So I was like, well, wouldn't it be fun to just have like a little set of cottages, because the only time I found my fairies need to go inside is with seasons when it's storming. And even then, if I've worked really hard on their like nature skill, they don't really need to, but I feel bad making them just like live outside under a leaf. So I was like, well, wouldn't it be really cute to have just these like little cottages that your fairy could rent out, you know, residential rental style, and it's just like either, you know, it's like a little place for them to chill and hang out. Maybe you just want to ride out the storm with a good book. Maybe your fairy is like into tech and they just want a little place to store their tech out of the rain. Or they want an indoor gardening space so that they can grow their plants all year long, you know, whatever. They just need like a room was kind of the thought behind it. You know, kind of almost like, you know, those places where you can rent out like the maker spaces where you can rent out like a little maker space and then kind of do whatever you want with it as long as it's within the guidelines. Or like even like a storage unit is kind of a similar idea of like you can kind of do whatever you want with it as long as you're not living in it. That was kind of the idea, except a living space, right? Like your fairy doesn't need a huge living space, but they might need a room for something. So essentially they can rent a room, but it's a cute little cottage and it's up here in the tree. So I thought it'd be a cute little tree house. I put a bunch of like debug landscaping around and we'll get there. And this is what that would look like from the outside. This was the idea. Now there is a video coming where I furnish the rooms. But I did actually do that separately by intention because this to me felt like a really good canvas. I wanted you guys to want to fill out the rooms without me like telling you what the rooms needed to be, you know? So this video is strictly like all of the cool landscaping, how the rooms look. Specifically, I'm really proud of how like dimensional this lot is because there's no terrain manipulation here, but you'll notice two of the houses are up on stumps. And I think that's really cool. Those stumps are debug. So I think, my understanding, based on my very limited testing, your sim can kind of walk through them because they're debug. We're going to ignore that. But it looks like branches broken off of this tree because we're in the tree lot in a screen, and I can't remember the name of the neighborhood offhand, but there's a lot that is actually in this like giant beautiful tree, and it has the most fabulous views. It's like every little like childhood fairy tale that starts like, you know those adventure tales? I'm blanking on the names, but you know those adventure tales where it's always like the kid and the dad are like researchers and they're on like the deserted island and they're gonna go on an adventure. It has that vibe. It has very much like treehouse on an adventure vibe up here. So I thought it'd be a perfect place to build a fairy lot. And I wanted to keep that dimensionality, and I wanted to keep the tree idea without putting like a tree in a tree. So I found these two stumps. One has mushrooms all over it, and one is just like a little bit more of a traditional tree. And I was able to do that like thing you do where you make it like the second story, but then you lower it. So those two upper houses are technically second story. So when you're playing with the camera, it'll be kind of weird. It's very similar to when you make like a trailer and you have to like do the thing where you lower the second story onto the trailer, the debug trailer thing, to make it look like an RV or something like that, you know? Very similar with that. And then I thought it looked kind of weird, so I ended up putting posts in, and those posts do change. I end up going with debug posts, which don't match the columns, but because the second stories aren't full stories, the columns are being weird, and I just gave up on it. And here you can see I'm doing lots of landscaping. It is springtime in this world we've been building in. So for a good portion of this, everything is kind of brown. I can't remember if I change the seasons or not. I know it's summer in the game now. but I can't remember if I changed it for the screenshots enough. So we'll have to see together. I built this about 3 weeks ago, and I've been kind of sitting on showing it with you because I before I put it all together, I did want to fill out the rooms and make sure they work, and they do. The rooms are all filled out. That'll be a video for another time, but I wanted to give you guys time to sit with it, think with it, maybe fill out your own rooms or build your own fairy community, because I think it's kind of a fun idea, right? Because it's like one of, you know what it reminded me of? You know what kind of the vibe was for all of this? Is like Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Because so like for those of you who have only played New Horizons, or maybe you've never played Animal Crossing before, you get a little house. And on a lot of the newer Animal Crossings, like New Horizons on the Switch, City Folk on the Wii, I believe was like this. I might be wrong on this one. I believe both of the DS ones, you could pick your, like DS and 3DS, you could pick where your house is with some, limitations, but you could kind of pick where to put your house. On the GameCube one, which was my first introduction to Animal Crossing, there was like a little square area, and there was 4 little houses, because you could have 4 different players playing. And the only thing you got to pick was which house, and only if you weren't the last player. And they were very much, you started with just this little room. I think it was literally like 4x4 tiles. You started with a radio and a little box, and I think maybe that was it. Maybe there was a lamp. I can't remember. And usually some really heinous wallpaper and flooring. And that was your little house, and it was really hard to upgrade to start. And honestly, like, some of that I think is childhood, but a lot of, like, New Horizons felt very easy for me to, like, go through the upgrades of my house. On the GameCube, it took, like, a real life year to, like, get through some of the upgrades, not even all of them. Like, I think my family, because there's my mom, dad, my brother, and I all played on the same Animal Crossing save on the GameCube. And I think it took even my parents, like, a couple of years to get, like, everything kind of done in that game. Anyways, I digress. The point is there's a very nostalgic feeling to those little single rooms where it's like, the game very much gives you that vibe of like, hey, this is yours. It's not much, but it's yours. Do with it what you want. And that was very much kind of the vibe of this world, or this, like, little build, where I was like, it's not much, but it's your fairies, and whatever they want to do with it, it's going to be really cool, because it's a little community, and it's their little cabin. There's a couple places that I've been to. My aunt and uncle have a place down on the coast, and it's these teeny tiny little lots. Most people park, like, RVs on them, or they get those little, like, tiny homes and put them on there. You can't do, like, a permanent dwelling or anything on these little lots. And that's kind of the same vibe of, like, here's your little spot, do whatever you want with it. And some people get so creative and have, like, tiki huts and things. And that was like the whole vibe of this, is I just wanted it to feel really cool. And you could honestly even not have fairies live here. The only thing would be you'd have to get a little bit creative with where to put, like, a bathroom and a kitchen, and, like, make it, like, full-on living, because not all of them have, like, beds and stuff. But realistically, I think they're all approximately 5x5. The crooked ones are obviously a little bit different. The diagonal ones, that's the word, are a little bit different. But you could modify all of these and have them be, like, not fairy cottages. I just thought it was a fun idea. And, like, do you see how it's, like, slowly getting very magical and very fun? Like, can you imagine having, like, a bunch of little fairies living here? I said, like, in my head I had, like, all kinds of different fairies. Now, I've never seen Pixie Hollow or, like, the Tinkerbell stuff. My only interaction with Tinkerbell has been pretty much the original, like, Peter Pan cartoon from Disney, and that's not the original I recognize. Like, it's a literary tale, but I mean, like, Disney's the first swing at it, right? So I'm not super familiar with that, but I do understand, like, the vibe of like, fairies with different jobs and different, like, roles in the community and stuff. So I did kind of draw on that very, like, light idea too, of, like, each little home maybe serves a different function because a different fairy lives there and they have different goals. And I did paint each house a little bit different and try to make sure, like, the windows matched. I had so much fun with the paint trim combo, and it was also, like, a really good excuse to use some of the, like, more magical things in this pack that, like, really outside of a fairy build you're not going to get to use. I can't, side note, I want to swap topics. I'm aware that this little tan house here, the awning on the front is way higher than the other ones. I do fix that. I can't remember if I fixed it in the video or if I noticed it when I was furnishing things. So if it's not fixed in this video, it's fixed in the next one. But I do promise it's fixed. I do promise it's fixed. I just didn't catch it right away. I think that one and the purple one both had to be fixed, if I recall. Because they just got a little higher because they're diagonals. But yeah, it kind of hit this, like, fun little magic, little magic community space. You could also, I guess, put spellcasters in here, although my understanding is spellcasters and fairies don't like each other, so maybe don't move both in at the same time. But like, this would be a great place to have like a cauldron, or I mean, if you really wanted to, this could be one like lot, and you could have like a kitchen cottage and a bedroom cottage and a living space cottage and I guess a whole bathroom cottage. It would be a big old bathroom, but you could do it, you know? So there were a lot of options with this lot, but I was having so much fun. I went to town with like the crazy flora and fauna. I was having such a great time with this. Oh my goodness. And honestly, looking at it now, I almost want to add like some like roof decorations more, which is kind of hard on the curved roofs. The curved roofs make it hard. And I was just sitting here thinking, you know what I didn't add is any chimneys, which is really interesting. So, you know, as soon as you get this off the gallery, if you do, maybe like add some chimneys. Maybe add like, I don't know, fireplace or two. That'd be really cool. There's so much you could do with this idea. I love this idea, and I can't wait to hear what you guys would do with this idea, because like, I feel like I'm reasonable at building or whatever, but I feel like y'all are so much better. Like, some of the stuff I see on the gallery or I see in like YouTube videos and stuff, holy Moses, y'all are so or Instagram, holy crap, you guys do some amazing stuff on Instagram. So like, I can't wait to see what y'all do with an idea like this. I'm sure there's stuff out there and I just haven't seen it yet. Here I was trying to figure out what to do with the mailbox situation, and I think I end up ultimately putting that big one down. I can't remember, maybe I don't, maybe I leave it the little one. I ended up doing something on that side. I can't remember what it is now. Like I said, it's been a couple weeks because I wanted it to feel like a little community space. Maybe I don't. Maybe I ended up deciding against that. But at one point I had thought like a little community board or something might be kind of cute in there. I don't put a lot down in this middle space because obviously it's residential rentals. So that's 5 different lots trying to do things together. But there are a few like plant pots out there. I'm trying to think. I think maybe that's it, but you could really easy put like a picnic blanket down. You could really easy put some chairs out. It depends like what kind of Sims you move in and how they feel about their neighbors, because it would be really easy to have like a cute little community space out in the middle if, you know, your Sims get along. If they don't get along, maybe you just leave it. But I also wanted it to look kind of overgrown and fun, and I wanted to be a little bit careful about things because it is on the top of a tree, and so it felt kind of weird to have like a fire pit and stuff out there. But here are the screenshots, and I think I'm going to let you go because I've been talking your whole ear off. But I hope you're having a great day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you. Next up is either the interiors for these or an apartment or something. I'm not sure yet. I got to figure out what's next on the docket. I got to put things together, dude. I'm so far behind. Anyways, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, love you. Bye.